James Coleman on the line from Gridiron Now, covering Florida State football. And of course, he played there around 10 years ago for the Seminoles. So we talked about the quarterback situation and DeAndre Francois. You bring up his name. And my take on his 2016 campaign was this guy did about as much as he possibly could, considering the worst unit on the field was the offensive line and had been for a couple of years there at Florida State. And I was just impressed with the way the kid got off the deck time and time again as a freshman, delivered in the clutch against the likes of Michigan and a lot of really good teams. Of course, he gets his 2017 taken away from him due to injury. Your thoughts about whether this is definitely his job, or did Blackman put himself in a position to vie for the starting job?
It's definitely not his job right now. Right now, it's James Blackman. I mean, it's Blackman's to lose. And unfortunately, it's no fault of his own, but it's kind of just the way things go. Blackman did not perform bad. It was an entire team situation that performed bad, and a lot of the hits that they took was due to not being able to make quick decisions. It took entirely too long to develop plays, and that's got something to do with the quarterbacks, but also has something to do with the system. So a change of system. Willie Taggart's system is designed to create one-on-one matchups throughout the field with wide receivers. So if you're a wide receiver and you got four slants, then it's going to be four guys running slants. It's not tag or option routes with it. So it's really just which guy is open. Now you have guys learning how to beat one-on-one matchups, and that's what they're going to do. So it should make the passing game go a lot faster. Also, the splits that Florida State is going to have, the 2-yard splits, are going to have defensive linemen being put on islands, which means offensive linemen have one-on-one matchups, essentially, too, which makes guys like Cam Akers even much more effective, because now if a defensive lineman goes too far to the right, you just created a huge gap. And now Cam Akers is going to be able to get into that hole, and it's a one-on-one matchup with a linebacker, and I don't think many linebackers want those problems.
So you touch upon something here, James. So for you and for the guys that you've seen play, both when you were on the field with them and from the sideline or the press box, what's the difference between when you know that you can play at this level? What do you see? Because we know that some guys don't make it because of maybe just not quite the athleticism or the prowess of other guys. And other guys, you mentioned a lot of development when it comes to learning, and some guys don't make that curve. So just kind of give us a feel for when you know that somebody's got it.
Oh, like when you know they got it, it's the way they carry themselves, and it's not necessarily speed. I mean, everybody's fast to a certain extent, but you've got some guys who just play faster. So when you know what you're doing, the ability to know what you're doing makes you play faster. So, like, if I know I only have to go to this gap, then I'm going to run faster to that gap, and I'm able to move more free. Then it becomes a mentality, a tenacity. I'm just better than you. And that comes from confidence and repeated success that sometimes happens in practice, but also in the game when you or just in life. Like, DJ Matthews been breaking kids' ankles since he was a freshman in high school. So, I mean, he's used to that. He expects to be able to go on the field. So when you go to college your freshman year, you're kind of like, I don't know. But the first time you break somebody's ankles, then you're like, oh, this is just like high school with bigger people. So, like, the first time I punched somebody in the mouth, I was like, oh, okay, well, cool. I can do this. And then you're good until, you meet somebody who's better than you, which, happens when you play at a high level.
All right, James Coleman on the line here to talk some Florida State football with us from Gridiron Now. So as we progress through spring practice, based on when you're able to watch these guys get after it with the pads on, I don't know how many times that's going to be based on your schedule and Willie Taggart's schedule of allowing media to show up. But then when you see the spring game, what are going to be those things that you want to see that's going to make you feel better about this football team going into August?
What I want to see is this 4-2-5 that we're going to still run, but I want to see Coach Barnett's variation of it and what they do with the start. Are the guys developing it? Are they good? I also want to see which guys on offense are going to be the ones that are going to take control of the game. Is it going to continue to be DJ Matthews? Is Terry going to be that guy? Noonie Miles, hopefully he's not hurt. He tweaked his knee a little bit, so they pulled him out. But is Naquan Murray going to be the guy to step up? I really want to see Keith Gavin step up. And then, more in particular, is our offensive line going to adapt to what Coach Greg Frey is talking about doing? Are they going to become the badasses? Are they going to not? Are they going to be bullies? And we have not had bullies for an offensive line for a long time. People can say the national championship team, but if you really go back and look at it, Jameis took some hits then too. And yes, they can run block. I mean, that's cool, but you got to be able to pass pro. I want to be able to see if they're going to set the tone, if they're going to be as nasty as that defense, as those defensive tackles and as defensive line could be. Those are the things that I'm really looking for when it comes to spring.
All right, Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. So what that means is I've got a voice, you've got a voice as the viewer and listener. So certainly subscribe to the YouTube channel and catch us on Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play as well. Bring the comments and the questions. And then, of course, we've got a voice right here in James Coleman and some of the best media contributors in college football you're going to find right on my channel. Join James on his couple podcasts that he'll tell you about here in just a second, as well as Gridiron Now. So once again, James, on the podcast.
At Doak Boys, DOAKBOYZ. Again, that's Twitter, SoundCloud is where the podcast can be found. Or if you go on the Facebook, Doak Boys, that's there. Straight Talk No Chaser on your iTunes, on SoundCloud. Most of the different things I have, I'm part of Sports Den. At Sports Den _live, you can catch everything that I got. If nothing else, check out the articles on gridironnow.com. I think it's it's from the view from a player, a fan that happens to cover it, then that's pretty much what I'm going to give it to you. It's a different perspective. It's not that mine is just better than everybody else. It's just if you want to know what it looks like for somebody who's gone through it, that's pretty much what I'm giving you. Good
stuff. So with the recruiting, how does the early returns look?
We got a couple guys. It's a little slower than what people would like, but today is not today. This weekend we're going to have a junior day, and it's going to be some of the best players in the nation coming out of there. Number one quarterback in the nation. Don't let me say his athletic quarterback in the nation. I don't know how to say the kid's name, but I think it's from up in the Connecticut area, if I remember correctly. Trey Sanders, from out of IMG, whose brother just committed was a late signee to the University of Florida. So that recruitment should be interesting. I think he's going to go to Florida, but he's a really good running back from out of IMG Academy. We've got a lot of prospects here. Right now, it's just got to be converting them. Miami and UF are doing a better job of converting right now, but after seeing what I saw last recruiting cycle, I don't put anything past Willie Taggart.
All right, James Coleman, you got to join him on Gridiron Now, also on his podcast, and just look up the Twitter handle of Big Game James 36. Look him up right there. Follow him on Twitter. James, we appreciate you stopping by, man. It's always a good discussion, and we learn a lot. So we appreciate the time, and we will catch you soon, hopefully.
All right, anytime. Just let me know. I appreciate it.